Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Govberg, and thanks for logging on. Today, we're looking at a special Omega Speedmaster Professional Skylab 1 Mission Edition. You can see this 42mm stainless steel Skylab Edition Omega Speedmaster Professional on our website, govbergwatches.com. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel for more videos, and if you enjoy getting the latest news, views, reviews, and multimedia of luxury watches, please download our app, Govberg On Time. On my wrist, 6 1/3 inches, 16 centimeters in circumference, this Skylab 1 actually wears exactly like the classical asymmetric case Omega Speedmaster Professional Moonwatch, which is to say, although it's not precisely round, not counting the pushers and crown, the watch is 42mm across the broad of the case. Now, it's relatively slim as complications go, being manually wound, but you can see the generous cantilever of that tachymeter scale bezel. So 14mm thick. Nevertheless, this is one to fit under a sport jacket or blazer sleeve, not so much the tightest dress cuffs. Now, from lug to lug, this example measures two different ways. 48mm from lug to lug, counting only the structural elements of the case, but if you actually count the conforming end link of the bracelet, which projects outward and is rigid, then from side to side, you actually wind up with a more substantial and more contemporary 53mm lug-to-lug measurement. Make no mistake, this is a watch with impressive wrist presence despite its vintage-style status. Now, what sets this example apart, because it does wear like a classical moonwatch, is not so much the late 90s era Omega $14.99 842 end piece bracelet, although it is a little bit distinct from what's currently offered, featuring a snap-shut friction clasp and a tapered, alternately brushed and polished design. No, it's actually the dial of this one, because as I've already hinted with the name Skylab 1 and late 90s vintage, having mentioned both, you probably already picked up that this is part of the late 90s Omega Missions set. Now, you remember them as initially 40, ultimately 50 boxed sets of 23 watches, encompassing all of the special Mission Edition Omega Speedmaster Professionals, plus a 1957 vintage tribute. Now, more of the Skylab 1, 2, and 3 watches were built than mission sets assembled, but nevertheless, it's said that as few as 200 of these were ultimately built. This is hearsay between collectors. I can't verify it, so I'm going to put it out there, but say that this is a special edition from 1997. It is a rare watch. It is part of the mission set. It was included in that famed briefcase, and you can see the unique logo of the Skylab 1 mission with the names of the 3 astronauts involved. Now, from 1973 to 1979, Skylab was America's space station. Now, younger space enthusiasts may be a little bit surprised to know that yes, America did have a space station during the 70s. Apollo wasn't the only thing going on during the era of Earth tones. This is a very handsome edition because it has just a little bit of color to animate a dial that's otherwise classically Moonwatch. Now, the watch has the image of the watch that went to the moon, but this being a later reference featuring the cam-operated rather than column wheel-operated Lamagna caliber, here doing business as the Omega caliber 1861. We're looking at a watch from the Shuttle and Skylab era, and this is actually the very same movement inside. 18 joules, manual wind, 21,600 vibrations per hour, 48-hour power reserve, that continues to serve today in the era of the International Space Station. So you have a watch that spans eras. Obviously the Moonwatch through the pioneering years of the 60s, the Shuttle watch later on, the Skylab watch during the spaces in between, and today, on the International Space Station, watches very much like this continue to be worn. Now, all of the classical Speedmaster Professional elements are in place. The tachymeter scale calibrated to 500 units. You can see the beautiful baton-style luminescent hands with the elaborate lancet seconds for the chronograph. You can see all of the sunken sub-registers. Now, this watch does have the classical case back as well, testifying as to its status. Flight qualified by NASA, also approved for extravehicular activity, so spacewalks, and yes, the first watch worn on the moon. And to remind us that back in the late 50s, the Speedmaster was nominally part of the Seamaster line, you see the Hippocampus Seahorse logo. This watch is a fun example of an icon that's nevertheless not generic. It's a Speedmaster Professional with personalization, individuality, and because of the flash of color, great personality. It's everything that a Moonwatch is, plus a little bit more. So if you're burned out on the standard Speedy, check out this Omega Speedmaster Professional Skylab 1 Special Edition on our website, govbergwatches.com.